shiur is dedicated to the Hatzlacha, first of all, of Rachel Chaya Bat Sarah and also of Aharon Ben Tikva, לרפואה שלמה of גיסה בת חינקה, בריינה בת ריינה, ראובן לב בן אנה ומרים בת מטילדה. Also, you could check us out at Facebook, at Instagram, on our website at yeshivaetzion.com. If you would like to sponsor a lecture or to sponsor anything for the yeshiva for a special occasion, you could do so. Contact us through the any of those media, also at yeshivaetzion.com or at rabbigaon@gmail.com, or you can simply help us, and that will be terrific. More than that, you are encouraged to come and join us if you live in the area, and if not, move here, then we'll take care of it. Anyway, Parashat Yitro. So we're reading today Parashat Yitro. We read about the Ten Commandments. Yes, what are you shaking your head? Best part. I think it's maybe one of the more difficult parts. Where's your brother? Eitan the Mango Man. Anyway, so that rationale of most of the commandments in the Ten Commandments we could understand. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense if we're talking about killing, adultery, stealing, lying, and so on and so forth, or desire for things that belongs to the people, or doing any kind of acts like that, which are quite ugly actions to do, whether it's a societal thing or a individual thing or morally. These are ugly things to do. Also, the commandment of respecting the parents, we could understand. It could make sense to us. Why? Because of the of a gratitude for somebody who brought you to this world. And sometimes I can argue that, but who brought you to this world, who brought you and supported you and helped you, and so on and so forth. Even the mitzvah of keeping Shabbat, which is a mitzvah of between man and God, I could somehow understand rationally as a commemoration of, and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's something that we're going to bring emunah into me, keeping the Shabbat, believing in God. Akol tov de'yafeh. I'm going to tell you even more so. You see, we're going backwards. Even the prohibition of mentioning God's name in vain, I could understand. Why? Because if I know that God is the superior being, out there, He is God, right? So I have to be very careful mentioning His name because out of respect. But there are few mitzvot that I have a intellectual problem with. Well, first of all, the one I'm not necessarily going to talk about today is the mitzvah of not to make a statue. And maybe we'll talk about it some other time. But really the mitzvot we says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am God, your God. And lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai, you should not have other gods instead of me. It's very strange. And we'll get to it why. The Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvot, in the part of Mitzvot Aseh, the Aleph over there, it says the mitzvah, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. And he says like this, Hi atzivui asher tzivanu beha'amanat ha'elokut. That is the commandment that command us to believe in God. And it is shena'amin, that we should believe sheyesh sham a'ilah v'siba, that there is a reason and there is a creator, v'hu poel l'chol ha'nimtzaim, and he acts upon all living creatures, v'hu amro, and that's in the statement, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am God, your God. What are you saying? It's like, what? Doesn't make sense. I mean, technically speaking, you could ask yourself a question, how is it possible that the Torah would command us to believe? I mean, in a way, it sounds like an oxymoron. I command you to believe. Why? Because if I do believe, I don't need a commandment for that, right? And if I don't believe, how can you commend me on something like this? Why? Because I don't believe that that commandment comes from God, because it's invalid. So what kind of a commandment is that? And we do call it the Ten Commandments. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. What's in it? But if we're going to look at the beginning of the Mishnah Torah to the Rambam, where he explains the details of this mitzvah, we could pay attention to the change in the wording that the Rambam is taking over there, Maimonides takes over there. And he writes like this in his first parak in Halachot Yesodei Torah, the fundamentals of Torah, in Halacha Aleph and Vav, he goes like this: Yesod HaYesodot. You learn with the Huda time. Yesod HaYesodot, the foundation of all foundations, Ve'amud HaChochmot, and the pillar of all knowledge, Leida. That's with bold, Leida, to know. שיש שם מצוי ראשון והוא ממציא כל נמצא וכל נמצאים משמיים וארץ ומה שביניהם לא נמצאו אלא מאמיתת הימצאו. In other words, to know that there is a entity out there, that it is ancient to all, that was there before this universe was in place, and everything that is from heaven to earth and anything is in between are not there or were not there or will be there only because he is there. In other words, the reason why we exist here and the reason why, 500 billion light years away from here, there's some heavenly thing that sends every 16 minutes a radio pulse, a short burst of, you heard this, right? It's also because of God. Everything is because of God. But we need to know that. Leida, we need to know that. ואם יעלה על הדעת, and if you would think שהוא אינו מצוי, אין דבר אחר יכול להימצאות. And if you think that God is not there, therefore nothing could exist if God is not there. Of course, this kind of wording by the Rambam puts scientists and all kind of other people into tremble and so on and so forth. But as I said to you earlier in the morning, they can take cold showers, they can drink cold water, and they can put ice packs, whatever they want. But in other words, chill out. I don't really care what you think. I'm not here to appease you. I'm here to tell you the truth. And if you again would think that everything else is existing without Hakadosh Baruch Hu, הוא לבדו יהיה מצוי ולא יבטלו לביטולם שכל הנמצאים צריכים לו, because it's impossible. Why? Because every part of creation needs God there. והוא אינו צריך להם, and he doesn't need anything from you, nor he needs you. where is it? ולפיכך, and therefore, אין אמיתתו כאמיתת אחד מהם. Therefore, his existence, or his truthfulness and his existence, is not the existence of anything else in the world. Everything else in the universe besides God has a beginning and has an end. God has no beginning and no end. Don't even bother to discuss it or manipulate it, because it's greater than our brain's ability, even if we put all our brain abilities together to actually understand that. Sam, have some wonderful, wonderful chulet and jachlon. It's really superb. They're going to make a real man out of you. And some other things, but we're not getting to this now. Right? Pinocchio. Yeah, very good. All right. So, and then he continues, it says that he himself, and that's what the prophet says, והשם אלוקים אמת הוא לבדו האמת ואין לאחר אמת כאמיתתו. God is the truth, it's all the truth and nothing but the truth. ואין שם מצוי אמת מלבדו כמותו. There's no other truth in existence like God. המצוי הזה, that entity, הוא אלוקי העולם, he is the master of the universe. Adon kol haaretz, the masters of the world, and he is the leader and he is the power that everything is being generated for. She'en lo ketz, there's no end to it. V'tachlit, and his purpose is greater than all of us. And that is bekoach she'en lo hefsek, and it's an ongoing force or energy, whatever comes from God. She'agalgal sovev tamid. And if you're going to tell me how is it possible, the Rambam tells it's very simple. The wheel always turns, and the wheel does not turn unless there's somebody turning it. So vehu baruch hu, and Hakadosh Baruch Hu spins it out belo yad belo guf. He makes everything move without even a hand or without even a body. It's just by him. Veyediyat davar zeh, and knowing that zot mitzvat aseh. That mitzvat aseh, knowing. Listen what it says, knowing that there is God, and that's the mitzvah shene'emar, Ani Hashem Elokecha, I am God your God, v'kol ha'ma'aleh al da'ato, and everybody that thinks, sheyesh sham Eloah acher, that there is another God, or there is another power, or there is another entity, chutz mizeh, besides that, over belo ta'aseh, violates the commandment of לא יהיה לך אלוקים אחרים על פניי. And this is וכופר בעיקר, and he's an ultimate heretic, שזה העיקר הגדול שהכל תלוי בו. And that is the main principle, that everything is dependent on that. I kind of butchered the Rambam with lack of ability because I'm reading in Hebrew, I'm translating to you in English. But I would really encourage you to read it, to learn this paragraph of the Rambam, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, actually, maybe you cannot come thinking about it, but for whatever reason, we never learned this, and nobody ever teaching it to us, and so on and so forth, and I think it is horrific. To understand what is it that our faith relies upon, the pillar of our faith is on that paragraph that I just read it to you, so therefore I would encourage and urge you all to actually read it appropriately. And he says, so therefore, the Torah itself, so, if you pay attention to the Rambam does not say that there is a mitzvah, the commandment to believe in God, but rather he says there is a mitzvah to know God. And it's totally different things. In other words, we have to know that there is God and He is the only God. And the Torah, by the way, also uses this kind of a statement, as we say every day in Aleinu L'Shabeach, but it says in Parashat Vayetchanan, Veyadata Hayom, and you should know today, V'ashevatah et levavecha, and you should put this into your heart and repent as well. Why? Ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim me'al v'al haaretz mitachat en od. Because God is God above heaven and earth, and there's nobody else but God. We said in Aleinu L'Shabeach. Another thing, start looking at your tefillah a little bit and start learning your tefillot as well. So immediately as you understand that the mitzvah is to know that there is God and God is one, and not just to believe, all of a sudden everything changes. Everything takes a change. And why does it take a change? Some of you have interaction with not religious Jews, and they say, I believe in God. I do believe in God, and I have a special relationship with Him, but I do what I want. So I'm going to tell you something. Unlike some rabbis who try to score celebrity scores and high fives and thumbs up and become a celebrity rabbi, but are probably not telling you the truth, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not interested in being a celebrity. I celebrate life, I celebrate God, I celebrate the Torah. I don't need to be a celebrity. I'm a celebrator. So I'm going to tell you that. If somebody tells you this, I believe in God, and I have a special relationship with Him, and He understands me, I understand Him, but I don't keep Shabbat because that's my way. Basically what this guy is telling you, this person is telling you, he's a liar. He's a liar. And I don't have a problem saying it. I don't need to be nice or cute. I'm not a teddy bear. I'm not a fuzzy, nice-looking guy like this, cuddly, I'm not. I'm going to tell you the truth. You like it, don't like it. Go back to remark number 1, cold water, take shower, and so on and so forth. I'm going to tell you that. Why is that? Because once you understand that, the Torah tells us something else. Be an honest man. Be a straightforward person. And be honest also intellectually. Not only by doing, also intellectually be an honest person. Don't let your desires, whatever desires they are, to go opposite of the truth. Or to deny the truth to that matter. If you're going to be intellectually honest, you're going to come to the conclusion that there is a God, and that there's only one God. There's no two forces, force of evil, force of good, and they're going to have a battle in Armageddon. That's baloney. That kind of a commandment of I am God, your God, and to know that is in place and is valid even before you know that there is God. You were born into that. It is a moral, rational commandment. In other words, it is a fact. That is a fact. Whether you like to acknowledge the fact, when you choose not to acknowledge the fact, it is a fact. And to deny this fact is to live in a lie. And it is a very bad lie, because you are lying to yourself. You're not lying to anybody else. You're lying to yourself. And you should know that if there is a person who tells you that, as I said to you before, he has a special relationship with God, but therefore he can drive on Shabbat and do all these things he wants to do, and the other person that listens to him says, yes, I understand you. Yes, you're right. You know that both of them are liars. And both of them are fools. One lying to each other. And we should tell people the truth. And this is our job, to tell people the truth. And to be honest with them intellectually as well. Not only honest like this, intellectually as well. Now, the Maisa speaking, also in a certain debate, we're also talking about Yediah, about knowing. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, how? Asher hotziticha mi'eretz Mitzrayim, which I took you from the land of Egypt. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you already saw my power. You already saw my abilities. You already saw what I'm capable of doing. And because of that, you know that I'm God. By knowing, who am I? I'm the same God who took you out of Egypt. And you saw what I did there. So from now on, you know who you're talking to. You talking to me? Yes. Who are you? God who took me out of Egypt. That has to be clear to you. That's why we mention Yetziat Mitzrayim, everything. In Tefillin, we mention it in Kriyat Shema, we mention it everywhere, Yetziat Mitzrayim, Kiddush on Shabbat. Why? Because the acknowledgement of coming out of Egypt by God is the acknowledgement of God. That's why we mention it on Kiddush on Shabbat. So when you drive on Shabbat, or you don't do these things, you can't tell me you're acknowledging God. How can you acknowledge God and then do the opposite of what He tells you? It's beyond me. I mean, you gotta be one heck of a liar. Can't do it. So therefore, if you ask yourself, okay, what's the tzivui? That you should always, and we should always live with this. Yitzchak, achalta mashu? Jachnu l'achalta. Tochal ze ta'im. To always stay with this and to live with this rational awareness that God is God. In other words, don't let your senses or don't let your desires confuse you, or then fall in your own trap. And a lot of people would ask, or asking, how is it possible that the generation of the people in the desert that saw all these miracles and saw these tremendous miracles really made the chet in the egel, in the golden calf, and in the spies that they sent, or the scout. I hate the word spies, because spies means that we were spying around. It's not really us. We sent scouts. That's what we sent. We didn't send spies. We sent scouts. So, and whatever else they did there. Why? Because a person is sure, and most of us are sure, that if we're going to see miracles, we're not going to do any averot in the world. And that's not true. Your ability to do an avera or not to do an avera is dependent on how much you acknowledge God in that particular road, that given moment. The Rambam says, "En adam choteh ela im ken nichneset bo ruach shtut." A person doesn't make an avera unless he becomes incapable intellectually at that moment. In other words, he's a, how do you call it, retard. Yeah, I said that. I don't get politically correct. Clementines, whatever. Don't call it clementines, call it mandarins, Man, the generation we at. Anyway, so again, the question is how do we do it like this? So when you do the avera, you saying for that moment, for that split of a second, or whatever is the time that you do the avera, you're saying, "Excuse me, God, right now I'm turning the light off. You don't exist for me." You can say whatever you want. You can call him, but he still exists, regardless of what you do. But for you, in terms of you, that's what happens. So when you do an avera, that's what happens. You disacknowledge God. Because if you understand that shiviti, I contemplate on God, or everywhere I do, how are you going to make an avera? Everywhere God, Kadosh Baruch Hu sees you. So, but it's very easy, right? It's very easy that he's right, and this is all he does the averot because he's sure, that his senses don't lie to him. He's sure that what he sees is right, but that's not the case. Now, that commandment that we have is basically telling us, listen, put a guard, watch out. Don't let your desires guide you. Don't let your desires guide you. Stay in clear awareness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is around you all the time. And that is called emunah, to believe. Emunah is also from the same word of le'amen, to practice, to work out, and also mishum emun, trust. So I'm going to try to give you, maybe with your permission, a little bit of a different angle, and this is long as the length of the galut, but we'll try to do this. I don't know what I was thinking I was writing there. But let's talk about emun, trust. So trust is a state of awareness that there's no blemishes in it. If I trust you, I trust you. It's 100% I trust you. When I don't really trust you, it's a type of a relationship where I'm thinking something else. It's not blindly. There's maybe something like this, maybe this or maybe that, and you're always wearing, almost kind of a paranoid, aspects to your life. Maybe this guy is cheating me. I don't really trust him so much. So that trust in for example, in Moshe Rabbeinu was created from this experience that he had, and with the way that Kadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu all the time. He spoke to him all the time, and that way of communicating, that God communicated with Moshe, was so strong that he was able to pass from one generation to another generation, basically forever. So therefore, if your mother and your father and your grandfather and your grandfather and your grandmother and so on and so forth trusted someone, that awareness, that quality of the ongoing thing is going to pass also to you. So therefore, I'm going to ask you a question. It's very simple, as I always told you this. Ask any anti-Semite, right? And I'll tell you one thing for sure: Jews are not stupid. They're wise, they're sneaky, they're foxy, whatever you want to say. But morons, Jews are not, right? Every anti-Semite will tell you that. So good. So my father did not lie to me. My father believed in that, and my grandfather believed in that, and my great-grandfather believed in that, and my great-great-great-grandfather believed that, and his great-great-father, and skipping generations. When did we start lying to ourselves? Basically never. It's an unbroken chain. It's 120-something generations from Matan Torah, counted generation after generation. We all believe in the same thing. That's rooted in our DNA. That's a part of us. So the Rambam comes and later on continues Maimonides and says, and it really engraves also the opportunities that maybe there would be a situation that the nation would relate to a prophet through miracles and all kind of wonderful things like this, and you should again remember that a sign or a miracle does not create emunah. And there is a direct commitment in the Torah to believe the prophet that made a sign, made a miracle, and so on and so forth. And I do so in direct emunah, belief in that man, whatever he did. And I could even be mistaken. And there were many people and many fakes that created because of that. Therefore comes the first commandment in a very different way. I am God, your God. It is not a commandment, it is a fact. This is the beginning point, and this is the end point. This is the truth, and you better get used to it. Miracles don't create faith. And you have to remember that even if somebody comes and does this miracle, it's only because I, God, allowed him to do that. So therefore, stay away from people who will tell you, oh, you know, this guy, he does, I don't know, he makes people blind see, and he makes cripple walk, and he makes a white man jump, you know, whatever it is, it takes it over, you know what I'm saying. Don't believe those things. The truth is that I am God, and I am your God, and that's the fact. It's a fact. And facts you can't deny. I mean, you could deny, but there will be a stupidity. So Rav Saadia Gaon, in his book Emunot V'Deot, which is a fantastic book, and I think they have it in English as well, and if they do, I would recommend you all to buy it because it would enlighten you about many things. Counts, and he goes like this, those things will lead you to the truth. The different ways in which information are being fed into our awareness, and they create inside of that this awareness that something is real or something is false. And on something that is of that fact, I can build on my view of the world and to act upon it. One of the things that would lead you to that, to live the truth, is trust. And it's very important. And trust is so important in our awareness as humans that without trust, a man cannot exist. Why? Because it says, if not that, we're going to eat each other alive. So we base our relationship on trust. And you see how we made a whole world out of this in terms of whether it's kashrut organizations and so on and so forth. Whatever it is. You give me, you know, my life in Olam Haba is dependent on your kashrut supervision. You tell me it's good, I trust you. And this is how we've been living, Jews, all the time. So, if and that proof of Rav Saadia Gaon is fascinating. It's really interesting. Would really bring us to different aspects of new philosophy and so on and so forth. In terms of how do we live, you know, how do we interact with one another, and why do we trust one another, and so on and so forth. If you're going to erase trust, the whole economy would collapse. Everything, we won't be able to function. I give you a loan, I trust you to pay me back, and so on and so forth. The whole economy, we won't be able to function. And together with that, the whole world would collapse, and us together with it. So therefore, if you take the words of Rav Saadia Gaon and you apply it, for example, to family, you know, you get a very good lesson on how to have a family. And when, I mean, you see it today, by the way. You see it today how we, even in the political aspects, we don't trust any party. We don't trust any of the leaders, whether they're Republicans or they are Democrats or they're Labor or they're Conservatives or they're social. We don't believe anybody. We don't believe anybody. We don't believe our community in our communities anymore. We find everybody lying, and we suspect everybody's trying to get us. We don't believe one another in terms of our family, in terms of our spouses. And that's why everything falls apart. That's why families fall apart. That's why communities fall apart. It's not based on trust and finding the truth. It's all selfish. It's all about my motives override everybody else's motives or needs. And because of that, I cannot trust you. You cannot trust me. And that's why schools fall apart, communities fall apart, people fall apart, families fall apart, countries fall apart. The whole world falls apart. Everybody's always trying to undermine somebody else behind the scenes in a very cowardly way. I would be nice to you. I will send my dogs out, to you, and meanwhile I'm going to complain about you to them and to them to you, and that's why things fall apart, right? We know these things. And one of those. I mean, and because of that, nobody's going to join any kind of communal aspect that is necessary for functioning a life in a community. Because if you run a charity organization, or you run a tzala, or you run a Tomchei Shabbat, or any other thing like this, and I don't build it on trust, so therefore I'm not going to join you, because you probably have something personal about it, and then our community doesn't have anything of any project of chesed being built. I don't trust you to give you money, because you probably taking the money to your pocket. So if I don't trust you with that, so why should I give you any money? And that's why nobody gives money to schools, to yeshivot, and so on and so forth. That's why more religious life, or the more religious you are, the more thriving in terms of the community you are, because it's based on emunah, belief, and it's based on trust. Again, if I'll go to hell or go to heaven is dependent on you, I better trust you. And that's, for example, kashrut organization. Of course, we need to make sure that the people that are standing on top of this organization are the right people, but we trust them to do the right thing. We nominate them. We trust them to do the right thing. That's, by the way, it's a very big concept in our lives. Now, we're afraid to commit. And since we're afraid to commit, that's why guys and girls don't get married young enough, or they don't get married at all. That's why they can't make a decision, because I'm afraid to make a decision, because I can't trust you, so I can't make a decision. Should I marry this guy? Should I marry this guy? Should I marry her? Should I not marry her? I can't make a decision. So therefore, what happens? We fall apart. So you see that in a way, the belief in God, or so-called the trusting of God, is really a key to our existence as Jews, as individuals, as humans. So having this in mind, and I think I can make it in 5 minutes, let's look at this a little different. The statement, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am God, your God. Therefore, from this point, this is going to be the source of all your relationship out there. Open your heart to me, and then your heart will be open to other people. I am God, I am Hashem, your God, is your first relationship. It's the first relationship we ever had. And that relationship would reflect on any other relationship we will have, or we had as a nation, from that Matan Torah, from receiving Torah in Sinai, in Har Sinai, until today. It's a reflection of all our relationships. Do you trust your partner? Whoever the partner that will be? Do you live in a feeling that you deserve things, that you're entitled for things? And that's what many times we have in a relationship. I'm entitled for that. I am the husband, or I am the wife. I'm entitled for that. Or I'm the congregant, and I'm entitled for that. And you should do this for me. And I don't want to do anything, because I always like to complain, but I don't want to do anything. I don't trust you, but I'll let you do everything. Well, that's your fault as well. Then it's a defective relationship. Do you do things from love? Because you want to do things. Or you live in fear all the time from the hit that you're going to get. The hit is around the corner. whether it's a hit from God or a hit from if your wife got a divorce, she's going to take half of your possession. So, why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you loyal to your wife? Are you loyal to your wife because you love her? Or are you loyal to your wife because you're afraid she's going to bankrupt you? Or your husband, or whatever it is. Why are you, a lady, loyal to your husband? Are you doing so because of love? Or are you doing so because you don't want to work? And if you're going to divorce him, you have to go to work and you have to downsize. Why are you doing what you're doing? Did you ever examine that? That is a relationship. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us already in our first date. Our first date with God, it tells us the following. If you would know that you are always appropriate with me, by me, in other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will always receive you, make tshuva, and is always there with me. Therefore, from this point on, you'll be able to enter any relationship straight up, proud, straight up, not hunched over. If your heart is going to be open to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to you, therefore, you'll be open to any relationship in which you're going to get engaged with. Your heart is going to be open to everybody, always, because you operate from trust. You trust people. Why? Because you chose me. I chose you. You had no choice, but you chose me. Na'aseh v'nishma. Therefore, as much as the more you fix in your relationship with me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, excuse me, the more you work about our relationship, God tells us, this is what you're going to fix towards the whole entire world. That's why believing in God, truthfully believing in God, understanding what is to believe in God, to know that there is a God. To believe in God is to know that there is a God. And since I know He's there, I'm going to fix my ways. I'm going to be better again and again and again. How fundamental is the first halakha in Shulchan Aruch? Especially the words of the Ramah. Especially the words of the Ramah. Shiviti, to my very extremely, and forgive me everybody, very insignificant opinion. I think the Shulchan Aruch should have started with the words of the Ramah. Shiviti Hashem leneged enai tamid ze klal gadol be'avodat Hashem. And then should have been Maran saying to us, you have to be like a lion, like a tiger, like a deer, this and that. Shiviti Hashem, it is maybe the most important statement that one can make in terms of Avodat Hashem. Knowing that there is God, contemplating on the existence of God all the time. That's why the more you are acknowledging the existence of God in your life, the better you will try to be, the more you'll try to improve yourself. And if you do so, improving yourself towards God, you would improve yourself to the whole entire existence of the universe, because it is all depends on God. And the reflection of your relationship with God is the reflection of the relationship of your life. Any relationship. So if you are a fake and you're telling God, it's me and him, we know we get along. I feel bad for you. Because you're living a miserable life. And we should understand that. So therefore, if a person knows that there is God, he will treat his wife right. He'll treat his kids right. He will treat everybody right. And he will bring like this to Tikkun Olam, to fix in the world. So if we will look at the last pasuk, I told you already on Parashat and Sefer Dvarim, if we would see at the last pasuk that we brought from Parashat Vayetchanan, we see exactly that this is the idea in the commandment, V'yadata hayom v'yashevetcha el levavcha ki Hashem Elokim. You should bring it into your heart and you should make tshuva. Why? Because God is God. Hashem is God. So after I think I gave you enough proofs to understand or enough material to work with, I think that it's time for us to do something about it. And I would encourage you all to really, tonight at least, contemplate on that which we just spoke about your relationship with God. How truthful is that relationship? Examine the rest of the relationship in your life, and you'll get a better grasp of the truth. You get a better grasp of what does it mean to be a Jew. To believe in God is to know that there is a God. Not just say, I believe, is I know, and there's a big difference. Have a wonderful Shabbat.